Yes, hello everyone. So we'll be now starting with the RTP questions of the partnership chapter. In the previous videos, I have explained the basics of partnership. I have explained the goodwill ka importance, goodwill ka accounting, goodwill ka methods. Then we have also spoken about admission, retirement and death का accounting in case of partnership. ठीक है, so now time has come to start with the RTP questions. So without wasting time, let us start with the RTP questions. The first question appears to be from RTP of May 2018. So should we start? Hopefully yes. Let us start, please. So question number 1, A, B and C, three partners enter into a partnership on 1st of Jan 17. So that is the date on which they have started the partnership. ठीक है. The PSR appears to be 5:3:2. ठीक है. A personally guaranteed. A has personally guaranteed that C's share of profit after charging interest on capitals at 5% would not be less than 30,000 in a year. Now A has personally guaranteed this for Mr. C. That means it's a case of minimum profit question. This means the partner who has made the commitment, in this case he has personally guaranteed, he will have to ensure that the other partner earns minimum 30,000 in a year. So if the PSR is less than 30, I mean the share in the profits is less than 30, he'll have to ensure he earns 30. If the share in profits is more than 30, he will take the higher share. ठीक है. The capitals of A, B and C were 322 lakh and 160 respectively. ठीक है. And profit for the year 31st December 17. The starting date was 1st Jan and the profits are given for year ended 31st December, which means an entire year's profit. The annual profits before providing interest on capitals was 159,000. So you are required to prepare the profit loss appropriation account. Now P&L appropriation account we have discussed, it is something which is applicable only for partnership concerns. So what happens is I will first bring the 1,59,000 in the profit loss appropriation account credit side, because this is the profits before providing for partners के capital pay interest. From this I will subtract the interest on partners capitals. We have the rate of 5% and we've got three capitals of 320, 2 lakh and 160. We'll apply 5% on these three capitals, compute the interest, subtract that interest from this and get some answer. Whatever is the answer, that will be shared in the ratio of 5:3:2. And guarantee किसने किया? Guarantee किया है A ने. So it's A, B and C, and his minimum share should work out to at least 30,000. And if not Mr. A will ensure that इसका 30,000 होगा. By this we mean A will reduce or A will pay from his share and will transfer the profit to Mr. C, because he is personally guaranteeing him minimum profits, and that is how the sum needs to be done. ठीक है. Let us see what the ICA has done. यही किया होगा. As I said, I'll bring the profits down as usual. Then I'll provide interest on capitals, respective capitals at the rate of 5%. This will give me total interest on capital. From 159,000, I'll subtract 34,000. So 159,000 minus 34,000 appears to be 1,25,000, and this will be split in the ratio of 5:3:2. And by doing this appears to be that Mr. C has 25,000, Mr. B is going to have 37,500. This will be 62,500, and Mr. B is going to have, किधर गया, 37,500. ये अपना हो गया share in the profits. But just because Mr. C is given a guarantee of 30,000, what we'll do is we'll do plus 5,000 here to make it 30,000 minimum, and we'll subtract 5,000 from Mr. A. That is because A has personally guaranteed this amount to him, and that is how the PSR will be split. 30,000, 37,500 and 62,500 minus 5,000 appears to be 57,500. So 1, 2 and 3. As you can see, 57,500 37,500 and 30,000. This is how the profits are going to be split between the three partners, mainly because of the minimum guarantee given to Mr. C by Mr. A. So reduce the share of profits of Mr. A and give it to Mr. C because of minimum profit guarantee. ठीक है, this is how we solve questions of minimum guarantee. Now just something extra, if the share in profits, agar I'm telling if this would have been say 32,000, then in that case he would have been given 32,000 and not 30. So 30 or share in profits, whichever is higher. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 ऑन मिनिमम प्रॉफिट एंड प्रॉफिट लॉस अप्रोप्रिएशन अकाउंट. ठीक है, let us now move on to question number 2. Now question number 2 is a repeat question. I am very sure I have dealt with this question in the November 20 RTP, so you guys can have a look at this question from the November 20 RTP series. I have uploaded this video on YouTube as well, so you all can view this from there. It's a repeat question, numbers bhi same hai, so we will not discuss and waste time on the same questions again. So question 2 is also done. आगे बढ़ेंगे towards question number 3. Now question number 3, fortunately or unfortunately, this has also been discussed in the RTP of November 20. So this is also a repeat question. It is coming from RTP of November 20. Again the same thing, it has already been uploaded on YouTube, so you guys can have a look from that video. We won't invest time on the same questions twice. So 2 is also repeat question, 3 is also repeat question, which means we can move on to question number 4 directly. ठीक है, so let us now start reading. Question number 4 appears to be from May 2019. चालू करेंगे. Yes, let us start please. The profits and losses of the previous year are 15 का profit इतना, 16 का loss इतना, 17 का profit इतना and 18 का profit इतना. So 15, 16, 17 and 18 ये 4 साल के अपने को profits दिया गया है. आगे, the average capital employed in the business is 2 lakhs. So we have been given the capital employed as well. ठीक है, the rate of interest expected is 10%. What is this 10%? 10% is the normal rate of return, that is NRR. ठीक है, the remuneration from alternative employment of the proprietor is 6,000. This is more like the opportunity cost. I'll have to adjust this from the actual profits to find something called as future maintainable profits. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Compute the value of goodwill on the basis of 2 years purchase of the super profits method based on the average of 3 years. Important, अपने को डेटा दिया है 4 साल का, 1, 2, 3 and 4. लेकिन the question specifically mentions कि I want goodwill based on the super profits based on the average of 3 years, ये वाला. So I will only take 3 years का profit, convert into average and then find my goodwill basis the average profits. ठीक है. So let us now find out what the question has done. The actuals will be basis the average, and then we'll compute the normal return using capital employed and the rate of return and compare the actuals, that is average, with the normal return. The balance is a super profit, and those super profits into 2 years is going to be the goodwill content. बराबर. चलो, let us see what the IC has done. As I said, since I need 3 years of average, as in 3 years का average, I will take average of 17 का loss, 50 का profit and 75 का profit. This is coming from year loss of, किधर गया अपना, 15, 16 is loss of 17 is gain of 50 and 18 is gain of 75. So negative 17, 50 and 75 is the numbers that needs to be taken for average profits computation. Once we get the average profit, that appears to be 36,000, 1 minute, appears to be 36,000. ठीक है, as I said, 36,000 is simply the average, and this is nothing but the existing current profits. For if the question has given me details of the future expenses or any opportunity cost, it is my job to adjust this from the average. So 36,000 minus the proprietor's remuneration should be adjusted for something called as FMP or future profits. This appears to be 30,000 and तुमको अगर चाहिए, so this is future maintainable profits. We normally subtract the remuneration of alternative source because the industry average must have been taken into consideration, the normal opportunity cost or the basic expenses of management as well. Since I am the one who's managing my own business, I will not pay myself. So if the industry average is taking expenses of management, then it is my job to also subtract the management expenses ka at least the opportunity cost content to make my profits comparable to the industry average. Only then will I get the super profits. And so this is my amount for super profit 30,000, and it is now my job to compute the normal return. Normal return is capital employed, जो भी number दिया होगा अपना, एक minute, cap employed, the whole into the rate of return, that is 10%, which appears to be 20,000. So 20,000 is the amount that the industry is earning normally. 30,000 is what we are actually earning after taking into account the opportunity cost as well, which means super profit appears to be 10,000. Note that super profit is not goodwill. Super profit is simply a proof that goodwill exists, and once we get super profits, that in number of years purchase is going to give me the goodwill, and that is how we will compute goodwill. Very simple. We have solved many questions where we have found out the goodwill using the super profit method, but this is something important, apna the proprietor's remuneration. So this can be marked as important to revise on the last day, because this is something you guys need to remember as well. From the average profits, you always subtract the opportunity cost or the future expenses to find something called as future maintainable profits. Because we are computing goodwill जो futuristic है, I also need the future profits, not just current profits. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया question number 4 as well. So 1 is done, 2 and 3 were repeat questions, and 4 is just now done. We will now hop towards question number 5. Should we start? Yes, so let us start with question number 5. This appears to be from the May 19's RTP. Let us start, please. A and B. A and B are partners in a firm sharing profit losses in 3:2. This is what? This is the old PSR, two partners. The balance sheet of A and B on the 1st of Jan, TK, is as follows. Creditors, bills payable, overdraft, cap accounts, building, furniture, stock, debtors, less provision, investment and cash. So it's a simple, regular, common balance sheet. TK, आगे बढ़ेंगे. C was admitted. It means it's a question on admission. TK, on the above date with the following terms. So obviously when a partner is admitted, we are going to have some terms and conditions as well. This is what the terms are. His share of profits is 1/6, okay, and he is introducing a capital of 25,000. So 25,000 is his cap contribution. 1/6 is his share in the profits. Okay. The new PSR is 3:2:1. So in a case where new PSR is given, so we do not need to find out the new PSR. Old PSR is, I think, 3:2. The new PSR is 3:2:1. So we already have the old and new PSR. Okay. C, that is the incoming partner, is unable to bring cash for his share of goodwill. In case the incoming partner is not able to bring cash, then we normally have adjustment among the partners' capital for goodwill. Okay. Therefore, they decide to raise the amount of goodwill in the books of the firm. So, अगर उनको goodwill raise करना है, then we have to debit the goodwill and credit the old partners in the ratio of their PSR. ठीक है. They further decide to compute the goodwill on the basis of C's share in profits and the cap contribution made by the firm. So they haven't mentioned goodwill compute कैसे करना है, that is super profit method or capitalization method or annuity method. They have simply said it is done basis his share, that is 1/6, and basis his contribution, that is 25,000. Basis this or these two data, we have to compute the firm's goodwill. This appears to be a question on hidden goodwill. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे. Furniture is written down by 870. ठीक है, it is a revaluation item, stock by 5% revaluation, provision 5% revaluation, provision made for wages outstanding, one more revaluation, building is appreciated, one more revaluation, and investment increased by 450, pure revaluation. So this entire adjustment is based on the revaluation. Simple, आगे बढ़ेंगे. It is found that the creditors include 1400 which is not to be paid off. Again, this is also reval. So point number 4 and point number 5 are purely revaluation. Since it is a creditor's amount not to be paid off, it means it's a gain because एक amount जो payable था, which was payable, now it is not payable. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Prepare the following. Prepare what? The reval account, partner's cap account and balance sheet of the firm after admission of C. Very simple question. We have solved many questions of this type. The only thing which you guys may need revision on is your goodwill computation in this question, because they haven't given the value of goodwill. We would be calculating the value of goodwill. Okay, very simple. So first things first, as I said, we'll be starting from the partner's cap. We'll be posting the opening balances, then we go to revaluation, then we'll find out the value of goodwill. ठीक है, चलो first things first. First we'll transfer opening balances, appears to be 44 and 36, so it is by balance brought down 44 and 36 in respective partners capital column. ठीक है, any existing reserves नहीं, any existing losses नहीं. ठीक है, any cash brought in, yes, 25,000. So cash account debit to partners capital 25,000. This is nothing but incoming partners contribution in cash. ठीक है, now let us go towards the revaluation. ठीक है, जो भी goodwill है we'll do it after revaluation. Furniture written down by 870. So go to reval account debit side and write 870 on the debit side because it is a loss. It is to be revalued down. So it's a loss. ठीक है. Then stock is depreciated by 5%. Stock का value कितना है? 21,400. So 21,400 का 5% is again my loss. Appears to be 2140 का half, 1070. It is again revaluation debit because it is devaluation or value coming down. ठीक है, ये भी चला गया. Then provision 5% for bad debts. So debtors appears to be 35,000. उसका 5% is 1750. किधर गया अपना provision for doubtful debts? किधर गया? 1750 and हाँ. So 1750 is going to be posted here in the outer column. We would be writing the provision ka liability on debit side, on the credit side, because that is my existing liability. So always compute the amount. Always compute the amount on the किधर गया अपना? On the gross figure of 35,000. So 35,000 का 5% appears to be 1750. 135,000 1750. हाँ 1750 ये अपना आ गया. ठीक है, so 1750 goes in the outer column. They have done knockoff, but generally you have that in the outer column and post 200 on the credit side as an opening provision. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया. Then existing provision is 200 रुपया. That goes either on the credit side as existing liability, or it is simple subtract from the gross provision and make it net. So we have done this method, I mean they have done this method. So 1750 is what we want, 200 is what we have. The incremental loss appears to be 1750 minus 200. ये अपना हो गया on the debit side. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया. Okay, do not compute 5% on 34,800. You always compute 5% on the gross number, post it as a loss, but existing loss is 200, so incremental is the extra loss content. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया. Then provision would be made for wages 1560, appears to be a loss, so again debit side 1560. ठीक है, ये भी अपना हो गया. Then value of buildings appreciate up to 29,200. So 26,000 is the value of building. I have to bring it to 29,200. Appears to be a gain of 3,200. So go on the credit side. That is 3,200 as a gain. ठीक है, ये भी हो गया. Then creditors of 1400 is not to be paid. If an amount is not to be paid, it is a gain. So it is revaluation credit side 1400. ये भी हो गया. Have I missed out on something? Oh, investment, I forgot investment. So investments is to be increased by 450. So go to the revaluation credit side. Investment is 450 ka gain. So we have done opening capitals, we have done capital contribution, we have done revaluation as well. Only one thing is left, that is the value of goodwill. Now how do we compute goodwill? I'll do it in rough, then we'll discuss. 25,000 is his capital contribution for 1/6 share. Okay, so if 25,000 is for 1/6 share, what is the firm's total capital? Can I say 25,000 into 6 by 10? That is as good as saying 1,50,000. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया for entire share. This is the capital that should be, considering his share in the profits and his capital contribution. Tell me what is A and B's capital? It is 80,000. What is C bringing? 25,000. So out of 150,000, 80,000 is existing, 25,000 is brought by the incoming partner, appears to be 1,05,000. Compare 1,05,000 with 1,50,000. The difference between the two appears to be 45,000, and this is the hidden goodwill. This is how goodwill has to be computed if we are supposed to compute goodwill basis. क्या बोला है क्वेश्चन में? Compute on the basis of this line, on the basis of C's share in the profits and the capital contribution made by him. This is the basis on which we have computed goodwill, and therefore we have valued goodwill as 45,000. Simply raise 45,000 in the old PSR. Write off नहीं, यहाँ पे तो सिर्फ raise करना है. So raise का entry is going to be goodwill account debit to old partners in the old PSR. So old PSR appears to be 3:2, ये वाला. So buy goodwill आएगा in the partners capital account, ये रहा buy goodwill partners capital account in the ratio of 3:2. That is the old ratio. We are not writing off because the question is silent. It is saying they decide to only raise the goodwill. Therefore the only entry that will be passed is goodwill account debit to old partners in the old PSR. तो ये अपना goodwill भी हो गया. So we are done with everything. So once we post everything, any adjustment regarding cap adjustment, I don't think so. So simple. Close the revaluation account. Balancing figure appears to be profit or loss. जो ये केस में I think coincidentally tally हो रहा है. So I think this amount and this amount is tying up, which means there is no profit or loss on revaluation, which means we can now balance partners capital as well. Balancing figures is 71, 54 and 25. That is going to be transferred in the balance sheet as partners capitals. And then we have the partnership, partnership का after admission का balance sheet. All my assets will be at new values. So new value, stock in trade, new value बराबर. Then we have debtors less the new provision of 1750. Then we have investment का again new value. Cash, this is my opening cash and this is the cash brought in by the incoming partner. So वो भी अपना नया balance आ जाएगा. These three capitals are coming from the capital accounts. Bills payable amount is the same, bank OD amount is the same, 4.1 and 9,000. 4.1 and 9,000, yes. And then last में we'll have creditors. Don't forget to adjust the value of 1,400 जो अपना gain था. So we are writing off the value of 1,400 from the creditors to make it 11,500. And then outstanding wages, this is a new liability which has been agreed to be recorded for the purpose of admission. So please record the new liability as well. And ये सब करने के बाद तुम्हारा balance sheet जो है वो tally हो जाएगा. ठीक है. So this was only important question from the point of view of this calculation. So यहाँ पे they have shown the calculation like this. 25,000 is the capital for 1/6 share. The full profit or the full capital becomes 150, out of which 44, 36 and 25 is the existing partner's capital. That makes it 1,05,000. Balancing figure appears to be goodwill, and we have simply raised goodwill. Important, once we are raising goodwill and we are not writing off goodwill, goodwill is also going to appear in the asset side, and that is the full value of goodwill here. If the question mentioned to write off the goodwill, then we would have passed one more entry writing off the goodwill by debiting the partner's capital and crediting goodwill in the new PSR, that is raise and write off as usual. But since the question mentioned अपने को goodwill सिर्फ raise करना है, so we are only raising the goodwill, that is goodwill account debit. That means it is going to appear in the balance sheet at the raised or the full value of the goodwill. And in this case we have done the goodwill computation as per hidden goodwill concept. So this question can only be marked important for the adjustment of goodwill. All other things are normal. Okay, goodwill and this apna the existing provision. So always compare the existing provision with the new provision. The difference becomes the loss, or simply post the gross provision on the debit side and the existing provision on the credit side. The effect will be the same. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 which was from May 2019. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are sorted. 2 and 3 have not been discussed now, but they have already been discussed in the November 20 RTP question set. ठीक है, let us now move on. Let us now move on to question number 6. चालू करेंगे. ठीक है, let us start question number 6 please. Let's start. Some 3 people, Vasudevan, Sundarajan and Agarwal, so V, S and A are in partnership sharing profit and loss in the ratio of 2:5:3. So this appears to be their old PSR 2:5:3. ठीक है, balance sheet on 31st December 19 is as follows. So अपने को year end का balance sheet दिया है. We have the 3 capitals of V, S and A. We have creditors or trade payables, both mean the same thing. You have assets, inventories, trade receivables, that is debtors, and bank, normal. The partnership earned a profit of 2 lakhs. So here the question has given what profit the partnership has earned in the year 2019. ठीक है, and the partners withdrew 1,50,000 during the year. This appears to be their drawings. ये उन्होंने पूरे साल में withdraw कर दिया है. ठीक है, the normal rate of return is 30%. This will probably, okay, if they have given the normal rate of return, probably we have to find the goodwill. Maybe, you never know. देखते हैं. You are required आ गया to compute the value of goodwill on the basis of 5 years purchase of the super profit. For this purpose, super profit is found out using average capital employed. Important. They are going to find the average capital employed, and that is why they have given the drawings and they have given the profits as well. So please mark this question important, because we are going to base our goodwill computation basis average capital. We have not done a question like this in the previous RTP, so ये काफ़ी अच्छा question है. Please revise this on the last date. Now what do you mean by average capital? Now the closing capital is very simple. Closing capital is all the assets, that is 655, minus all the liabilities, that is 30. So 655 minus 30, 6,55,000 minus 30,000. This is going to be something called as the closing capital employed. Now if the question was silent, then we would have found the normal return by using the normal rate of return, ये वाला, on the closing capital employed. But the question is saying that we have to compute the value of goodwill basis something called as average capital. Now average capital क्या होता है? Average capital is nothing but adjusting the drawings and the profit from the value of closing capital. Why? Because we are not going to have drawings in the beginning of the year. We are not going to earn profits in the beginning of the year. We are not going to have drawings or capital directly at the end of the year. Drawings are going to happen throughout the year. Profits are also going to be earned throughout the year. So some profits will be earned before 6 months, some will be earned after 6 months. Drawings will be made in the first half, second half, so it's happening throughout the year. That is why the average capital employed is equal to the closing capital employed, ठीक है, minus half the profits earned plus half the amount of drawings. Why? Because your closing balance sheet contains the profit, लेकिन profit तुमने पूरा साल earn नहीं किया है. Some profits have been earned in the second half, some profits must have been earned in the first half. Similarly, drawings तुम्हारे closing balance sheet में है ही नहीं because amount withdraw हो चुका है. But certain drawings are made 6 months के पहले, certain drawings are made 6 months के बाद. So you have to include some drawings as well, and you have to exclude some profits as well. That is the formula to get the average capital employed. Once we find the average capital, then the question is normal. Use the normal rate of return, this on the average capital employed, find the normal return. From that compare the actual profit जो ये है अपना, किधर गया अपना actual profit 2 लाख वाला, ये वाला amount, then find the super profits and then the usual sum continues. The only change is that कि अपन closing capital के बदले we are using average capital because the question specifically mentions to use average capital. If the question is silent, we would have normally done the question on closing capital. ठीक है, so remember this formula. Closing capital average capital is closing capital minus half profits plus half drawings. ठीक है, let us see how the ICA has solved. As I said, they have started with average capital employed computation. Total assets, as I said, is 625. ये 625 कहाँ से आया? 655,000 assets minus 30,000 of liability. ये अपना हो गया assets, ये अपना हो गया liabilities, and that is 625,000 which is coming here. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया closing capital. From that I am supposed to add the drawings of the partners and less the amount of profit earned. So as I said, add drawings and less profits. So profits हमारा कितना था? Profits was 2 lakhs and drawings was 1,50,000. So half of 2 lakhs appears to be 1 lakh and half of 1,50,000 appears to be 75, and this is my average capital employed. बराबर. Once we get average capital employed, the method is same. Apply the normal rate of return on closing capital के बदले average capital and compute the normal return. Normal return is to be compared with the actual profit. किधर गया? Normal return तुम्हारा कितना है? Okay, 1,80,000 is the normal return, 2 lakh is the actual profit. 20,000 appears to be something called as super profit. As we have discussed time and again, super profits is not goodwill. Super profits and number of years purchase use करके we get the value of goodwill. So super profit into 5 years purchase appears to be the goodwill, and this goodwill is the final answer in the question. So please mark this question important because अपने स्टडी मैट के अंदर भी एवरेज कैपिटल एम्प्लॉयड कॉन्सेप्ट का क्वेश्चन नहीं है. The way to compute average profit of your capital is adjust half the amount of drawings and half the amount of profits, assuming that drawings and profits are earned evenly throughout the year. So I subtract half of amounts of both to get something called as average capital employed. ठीक है, काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है. एंड देन द वैल्यू ऑफ गुडविल इज एज यूजुअल सुपर प्रॉफिट इनटू नंबर ऑफ इयर्स परचेज. ठीक है, सो 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 these questions are gone. Question number 7, again it is a repeat question from the RTP of November 20. So again we will not discuss this, it's a repeat question, numbers भी सब कुछ same है. So we will skip question number 7 obviously because it is a repeat question. Question number 8 is what we can solve. So in the upcoming video, in the next video, we'll be starting with question number 8 and onwards. ठीक है, take a break and we will meet in the next session for the next set of questions. Alright, bye bye. Questions of partnership chapter. So in the previous video we have finished off the first 7 questions and some questions were a repeat questions, so we have not discussed them. So we are now going to start with question number 8 and onwards. Chala, let us start please. Question number 8 appears to be from RTP of November 19. So let's start please. The following is the balance sheet of LMN Brothers as on 31st December 17. So it's a closing balance sheet given. ठीक है. They share profits equally. So it's a question of equal PSR as far as old partners is concerned. आगे बढ़ेंगे. There is capital, general reserve, there is trade payables being creditors, there is machine, furniture, fixture, cash, inventories, debtors and less provision. ठीक है. करना क्या है? N died. So it's a question on death. N died on 3rd of Jan. Okay, normally a partner may die after say 3-4 months. So in that case he will have his share in the 4 months profit as well, because he was a partner in those 4 months. अब यहाँ पे we can't find 2 or 3 days का profit. So question may give like a random ad hoc number which is to be given to him as 3 or 4 days का profit. That will be some nominal amount. The following agreement was put into effect. 1. Assets are to be revalued. Machine to 11,700. Furniture itna. Inventory itna. These are purely my revaluations. ठीक है. Goodwill is 6,000. So here the question is kind enough to give us the full value of goodwill. So no need to find any hidden goodwill or no need to compute goodwill by any of the methods. So it is very simple. Without using a goodwill account, which means raise in the old ratio and write off in the new ratio. That is as good as saying goodwill adjustment among the partners' capital. आगे बढ़ेंगे. 2,000 was to be paid to the executors of the dead partner on 5th of Jan. So this amount is more like an ad hoc random amount that needs to be paid for 3 or 4 days का profit, because we can't find 3 days का profit. So this appears to be like a random ad hoc amount. ठीक है. After the death of N, L and M will share the profits equally. So my new PSR is equal and old PSR was also equal. ठीक है. Compute or prepare the entry on goodwill and reval and cap account of the partners. Appears to be like a very simple question. So काफ़ी straightforward है, nothing new, no complications whatsoever. So we'll directly start from the reval. We'll first start from the entry. So as I said, we have solved questions where we have used a common format to have the net entry. The common format अगर तुमको याद रहेगा, so what we do is we are going to have 3 partners के लिए 3 columns, that is L, M and N. So अपन ने ये common format use किया है for all the questions on goodwill का adjustment. So we are going to raise the full value of goodwill, appears to be 6,000 in the old ratio, and then write off the full value of goodwill being 6,000 in the new ratio. 6,000 equally is L, M and N. 2,000, 2,000 and 2,000. This all appears to be credit, because raise मतलब goodwill debit to partners capital account. So partners capital को credit मिलने वाला है, and new ratio is again equal, and I think N has died, so इसमें नहीं जाएगा, and equal appears to be 3,000 each. So 3,000, 3,000. This has to be debit. So my net entry or my net adjustment entry appears to be N को मिलेगा credit, because that's higher, and this 1,000 is debit and this 1,000 is debit. The net entry appears to be L debit, M debit to N capital. And since the old PSR is equal, since the new PSR is also equal, the gain ratio is also going to be equal 1:1. That is why this 1,000 and 1,000 is equal. ठीक है. So L debit, M debit to N capital. So let's see. L debit, M debit to N capital being goodwill adjustment amongst the partners without using goodwill account. ठीक है. Very simple. बहुत बार sum solve किया ऐसा, तो कोई टेंशन नहीं होना चाहिए. Then let us come to the partners capital account and revaluation. First we'll start from transferring the opening balances. So it's by balance brought down. L, M and N for respective capitals appears to be 82, 82 and 9. Since we have a general reserve, these are the undistributed profits of the firm when the 3 partners were running the show. So all the partners have the right in this 3,000 in the ratio of PSR appears to be equal. So by GR will also come in the partners cap account 111, that is equal PSR. GR के बदले अगर लॉस होता तो उनमें लॉस भी डेबिट करते in the same old PSR. So opening capital gone, reserves gone, And let us now go to revaluation. Machine is 11,700 from 10,000, so it's a gain of 1,700. We'll go in the credit side as 1,700 as the amount of gain. ठीक है. Then furniture 4,600 from 5.6, it's a loss of 1,000. Debit side 1,000. ठीक है, very simple. Inventories 1,500 from 1,900, appears to be a loss of 400, so loss of 400. So these three are the only revaluations. So I'll close the revaluation, and balancing amount appears to be it's a gain of 300, which goes in the partner's cap in PSR of 100 each. ठीक है, ये भी अपना हो गया. And the net entry of goodwill will have to be given effect of, so 1,000 debit L and M. So 1,000 debit L and M, and credit N for 2,000, that is this as well. ये भी अपना हो गया. So opening capital gone, reserves gone, revaluation gone, goodwill also gone. Next we have 2,000 was paid to executors of the dead partner on 5th of Jan. So cash will go out. So N capital to cash, or N executor to cash, amount is going to be debited to N. So it is to cash bank, that is 2,000. This will be not paid to N because N to is no more, but we'll be transferring this amount to the executor of Mr. N. ठीक है, ये भी चला गया. Then we have, और तो बचा है नहीं frankly. So we will now close the capital of N first because he is no more. Balancing figure is 10,100. I don't think we have paid this. So this will again be transferred to the executors of Mr. N, and then balancing figure of other partners is 83. This will obviously come in the balance sheet immediately after the death of Mr. N, and well, that is it. और तो कुछ है नहीं. We are not making a balance sheet because in the question we are only supposed to make revaluation and capital. Balance sheet was not asked. And this working note was as usual, raise in the old ratio, write off in the new ratio. They have simply computed the gain in terms of PSR, but we have computed gain in terms of the entry as well. So it is much easier. This format is much easier compared to computation of the old PSR, new PSR, then old minus new. वो maths करने से अच्छा, it's always easier with the amounts, so you make no mistake. ठीक है. So question number 8 is also gone. We have prepared the entry, we have prepared the revaluation, and we have also prepared the capital accounts of the partners. So 8 is gone. ठीक है. Let us now go to question number 9. Question number 9 also appears to be a repeat question. ये अपन ने अभी solve किया है. I think this was question number 1 of अपने आज का session. So first question में अपना वो था not hidden goodwill, sorry, guaranteed profit वाला question था. Numbers भी same है, answers भी same है, partners के capital के नाम, I mean partners के नाम भी same है, everything is the same. So we will again not invest time in solving repeat questions. So this we have already done. Numbers भी याद है अपने को, ये 3 numbers आए थे मुझे याद है. So again it's a repeat question. We will not discuss this. आगे बढ़ेंगे towards question number 10. Again this is also a repeat question. ये बहुत बार question आया, 3 लाख and 2 लाख and 1.5 लाख and 20% वाला. So we have again dealt with this question in these sessions only. So appears to be a repeat question. So we will again not invest our time in the repeat questions, which means we will now go to question number 11. Alright, so let us start question number 11 please. बड़ा क्वेश्चन लग रहा है, देखते कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इंटरेस्टिंग है क्या. चालू करेंगे. Let us start please. Question number 11 and appears to be from the RTP of May 20. Let us start please. D, R and N are partners in the PSR of 3:2:1. It's a old PSR. Balance sheet is given. I have trade payable, that is creditors. We have outstanding liabilities, other liabilities, then we have general reserve, cap accounts of the partners, land, fixtures, stock, debtors, cash in hand and at bank. So it's a normal simple balance sheet. Partners agreed to take Suresh. Take matlab admit. It's a question on admission. With effect from 1st April 18, that is nothing but the first day of the next accounting period after 31st of March. On the following terms, he shall bring 8,000 towards his capital, that is capital contribution. Value of stock increased to 14,000, revaluation. Fixtures depreciate by 10%, revaluation. Provision for bad debts 5%, revaluation. Land building 5.6, revaluation. Goodwill is 18,000. Thankfully goodwill का amount दे दिया है, so we are not required to compute goodwill अलग से. They have given goodwill, so much the better. The new PSR is going to be equal, so old PSR known, new PSR also known, so tension nahi. Outstanding liabilities are 700, which has been paid by Dinesh. So it's a question of a liability which has been paid by one of the partners. We'll have to adjust this in the partner's capital. ठीक है? Then the entries were not made in the book. So ये जो entry है, this entry is not made in the book, so we will have to make this entry. ठीक है? Prepare the reval account, partner's cap account, balance sheet after admission of Suresh. So since we have 3 existing partners, Dinesh, Ramesh and Naresh, and we have 4th partner of Suresh, we'll have 4 columns in the partner's capital. I don't think इसमें कुछ interesting है, काफ़ी simple and straightforward question लग रहा है. चालू करेंगे. Let us start please. We normally start from posting the opening capitals in the partner's capital account. So it is by balance brought down by the partners, appears to be Dinesh, Ramesh and Naresh. This is capital brought down. I think Suresh brings capital of rupees 8,000, that is cash account debit to Suresh capital, that is here 8,000 cash. ठीक है. Existing reserves appears to be 7,800. These are profits when 3 partners were there. So this only belongs to 3 partners, being Dinesh, Ramesh and Naresh in the PSR. So it is by GR. Old PSR के हिसाब से appears to be 3:2:1. ये भी चला गया. ठीक है. Then let's go towards revaluation. Stock is 14,000 and stock was 12,600. It's a gain of 1,400. It will go on the credit side as gain. So buy stock 1,400, reval account credit side because of gain. ठीक है. Then we have fixtures depreciate by 10%. Fixtures is 7,200. That means इसका 10% 720 is debit side of revaluation, being a loss. आगे बढ़ेंगे. Bad debts is 5% of receivables, that is 5% of 1070, appears to be 535. That is again debit side of revaluation because it is a loss, it is a fresh provision. ठीक है. And then a building increased by 5,600, so go to reval credit side, it's a gain of 5,600 because it is increased by. ठीक है. Then we have goodwill is 18,000, so I will raise and write off 18,000. So let us have that quick working note as we usually do. Four partners, so 4 columns. So it is नाम क्या partners के D, R, N and S. D, R, N and S. I will first raise 18,000, that is credit, and write off 18,000, that is debit. 18,000 in the old PSR of 3:2:1. So 6,000, 3,000, 9, 6 and 3. Old partners in the old ratio and new PSR appears to be equal है क्या? ढूंढो. Equal. ठीक है. So 18,000 equally appears to be 4,500 each. Knock off करने के बाद net goodwill adjustment is going to be 4,500 credit, 1,500 credit, 1,500 appears to be debit, and 4,500 is debit. So it is N debit, S debit, 2D and 2R. So N and S are debit, 1,500 and 4,500. So as I said, raise in the old ratio, write off in the new ratio, and knock off करने के बाद this is the adjustment of goodwill amongst the partners without involving goodwill. When the question is silent, this is the typical treatment that needs to be done. So N and S are debit 1500 and 4500. So N and S debit 1500 and 4.5, and D and R are credit 4.5 and 1.5, 4.5 and 1.5. तो ये अपना हो गया the net goodwill adjustment amongst the partners as well. ठीक है. The outstanding liabilities include 700. Outstanding liabilities are 2200. ठीक है. इसमें से 700 is 700 due to outstanding liability include 700 due to Ram. ठीक है. Which has been paid by Dinesh. ठीक है. Entries were not made. So let us make the entry for this. Dinesh account will have to be credited because the firm is liable to pay Dinesh rupees 700. So Dinesh के account में जाकर we'll have to credit him with rupees 700. ठीक है. So liability उधर से कम हो जाएगा. So I'll debit the liability and the firm needs to pay Dinesh. So Dinesh capital will increase as a normal creditor. ठीक है. ये अपना हो गया. So opening capitals are gone, reserves are gone, incoming partners cash is gone, revaluation बाकी है. So let us close revaluation. Revaluation gain appears to be 5745, will go in the old PSR as 3:2:1. Corresponding credit in the partners capital 3:2:1. So we have done everything as far as partnership, your admission is concerned. Time has come to balance the partners capital. There is no capital adjustment, so balancing figures जो भी आएगा will go in the balance sheet as closing capitals. Otherwise what we would do is we would have to balance carried down here, and the balancing figure would be either cash brought in to have the capitals proportionate or withdraw to make the capitals proportionate. ये सब में ऐसा नहीं है, so closing capital कुछ भी नहीं आएगा. This itself is the closing capital. ठीक है. ये अपना हो गया partners capital. So reval account is also done. We now go to the balance sheet and update the balance sheet with all the recent numbers. ठीक है. This is the working note which they have done, but we have done this working note through our normal table. ठीक है. Land and building is revalued figures, furniture revalued figures, inventory revalued figures. Receivables में we have to adjust the new provision made. ठीक है. Cash in hand remains the same. Bank के cash में we'll have to add the capital brought by the incoming partner, so that makes it 10,200. So 28 was the old, 22 was new, and 22 में we have just added 8,000 more. Liabilities में तुम्हारा आएगा capitals. These closing capitals is nothing but what we have found as the balancing figures in the partners capital account. ठीक है. Trade payables is the number which is already there. जो outside liabilities था उसमें 700 जो अपन ने partners ने पे किया हुआ है, and we had forgotten to pass the entry because of we debiting liabilities. The liability का amount will come down, so we have to adjust the liabilities for the amount paid, and well, that's it. So balance sheet finally would tally, and this is how we make a balance sheet after admission, that is immediately on 1st of April. ठीक है. I don't think ये सब में कुछ interesting था which is worth revising on the last date. At the most you guys can mark this important, the fact that we have to account for a liability which had been paid by a partner by crediting him, and also update the closing liability with the amount by which the entry was not made. So ये एक ही चीज़ frankly है. All other things are basic revaluation, raise and write off of goodwill, then your GR distribution. This is comparatively uncommon in question, so you all can mark this as well, that do not forget to transfer the general reserve in the partners capital account credit side. Gone? Yes. So one more question gone. Question number 11 is also gone. काफ़ी straightforward and simple question था. ठीक है. Which means one last question is left before we close partnership accounts का RTP series, and that is question number 12, which appears to be from RTP of November 18. चालू करेंगे. Hopefully yes. We have to make partners capital account, partners bank account, reval and balance sheet. So normal question लग रहा है. Let us start. Question number 12, please. Neha and Company is a partnership firm with partners P, Q and R. So can I say the three partners P, Q and R? Okay. Sharing profit losses in 10-6-4. So P, Q, R are the old partners. Old PSR is 10:6:4 or 5:3:2. Both mean the same thing. Balance sheet is given on 31st March 18. ठीक है. We've got capitals, we've got reserves, we've got debt, we've got OD, we've got liability of your creditors. There is land, building, plant, furniture, investment, inventory and trade receivables. Regular balance sheet. आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. ठीक है. It was mutually agreed that Mr. Q will retire. So it's a question on retirement. So Q is going out. Q कौन है? Q ये बंदा है. So the guy in the middle, he is retiring. ठीक है. And in his place T is being admitted. So it's a question of retirement and admission. So we can mark this question as important because it is admission retirement combined. ठीक है. Will be taken as a partner on the same date, that is 1st of April. ठीक है. For this purpose the following is to be done. Goodwill is to be taken as 1 lakh, but the same will not appear, मतलब raised by the old partners, write off by the new partners and simply do net adjustment among all the partners. ठीक है. Will not appear. ठीक है. Building and plant and machine depreciate by 5 and 20 normal revaluation. Investments taken over by retiring partner at 15,000. So one effect will be your partner's cap debit because asset taken over. दूसरा effect will be revaluation gain or loss comparing 15,000 with the amount of investment in the balance sheet. वो भी देख ही लेते हैं. Balance sheet में investments कितना है? 12,000. ये वाला. So can I say 3,000 is the gain? So first account for 3,000 as a gain in revaluation and then you debit the partners because he is taking the asset. Provision of 20%. This is also revaluation. ठीक है. Then in the new firm, total capital would be 2 lakhs. This appears to be a sum on cap adjustment because the question has given us the closing capital of the new firm. This 2 lakhs should be to balance carried down in the partner's capital account, probably in their PSR. Balancing figures can be cash or bank or whatever the question mentions. ठीक है. Will be contributed by the P, Q, P, R and T, that is the new partners, in the new PSR given, which is 2:2:1. So new PSR is also given. Very good. The surplus funds, if any, will be used to repay bank overdraft. So जो भी अपना extra funds है partners के पास, वो उन लोग pay off कर देंगे for bank OD. ठीक है. Amount due to retiring partner will be transferred to his loan account. So whatever is the due for the outgoing partner, this will be transferred to his loan account. So this loan account will also be a liability. In the new firm. ठीक है. So it's a good question, I can say, for revision because one is admission come your retirement, second is the closing capital adjustment as well, and third is normal your revaluation. So it's a good question for last day revision. ठीक है. Let us start. करना क्या है? We have to make reval, partners cap, bank account. Bank account is normal. जो भी अपना बैंक के ट्रांजैक्शंस है we will maintain in the bank account and balance sheet of the new firm that is on 1st April 18. ठीक है. अच्छा क्वेश्चन लग रहा है as compared to all the questions that we have done from the past RTPs. So mark this question as important. Let us start please. As usual, see, so admission come retirement हो या only admission हो, the process remains the same. Transfer partners capital, bring the money by the incoming partner if any, goodwill का adjustment कर लो, revaluation कर लो, reval profit loss find out कर लो, everything remains the same because admission retirement both are happening on the same date. ठीक है. चला, let us start. First we transfer opening capitals to partners capital account. So partners cap account में आएगा by balance 80 20 30, that is the opening balances of the partners. Any reserves? Yes, 20,000. This will go to old partners, that is P, Q and R. Okay, note that we have 4 columns. One because of the incoming partner and the existing column of Mr. Q will go off because he is retiring. So P, Q and R, and इनको मिलेगा reserves of 20,000 in the PSR, that is 10, 6 and 4. So 10, 6, 4. Old partners, old PSR will be used for general reserve का transfer. ये भी चला गया। देन एनी इनकमिंग पार्टनर का शेयर कुछ है क्या? आई डोंट थिंक सो। 1 लाख को गुडविल है वो लास्ट में कर लेंगे, सो आई डोंट सी इसका कुछ कैपिटल है, सो दैट इज नथिंग, बट we'll simply not have any entry for cap brought in because that is not the question out here. So we will use his the firm's capital as a base and जो उसका शेयर आएगा वो उसको लेके आना पड़ेगा, वो लास्ट में आएगा मतलब। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे। गुडविल लास्ट में करेंगे। बिल्डिंग इज टू बी डेप्रीशिएट बाय 5 and 10, सो बिल्डिंग का 5%, बिल्डिंग इज 2 लाख का 5% इज अपीयर्स टू बी 10,000, इट इज अ लॉस, will go in the reval account debit side being a loss. ठीक है, plant and machine is 20%, so 1,30,000 का 26,000 again reval account debit side because it is a loss. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ेंगे। then investments taken are 15,000, so I will debit Mr. Q. I'll debit Q for 15,000, so go in his capital and debit him for 15,000. लेकिन the investments are appearing at 12,000, ये वाला amount, which means there is a gain of 3,000. That 3,000 is going to come as a gain in the reval account credit side as a gain. As usual, we have done questions like this where the incoming one of the firm's partners takes over the asset at a higher or a lower value. The difference has to come in the revaluation account. ये भी चला गया। Then goodwill is 1 lakh, so what I'll do, I will raise goodwill in the old PSR and write off in the new PSR. Concept remains the same, so our regular format, four partners, कौन कौन है? ABCD है क्या? नहीं, PQR and T. So we have P, Q, R and T. Raise 1 lakh in the old ratio of 10:6:4 and write off 1 lakh in the ratio of 2:2:1. So 1 lakh 10,6,4 appears to be 5, 3 and 2. So 50, 30, 20. 50, 30, 20. ये अपना हो गया raise. This will obviously be credit. Then we write off amongst the new partners. Now new में Q नहीं आएगा because Q is retiring, but T will come because T is now a new partner. 2:2:1. So 40, 40, 20. 40, 40, 20. ये करने के बाद I just need net adjustment. Appears to be 10K. This 10K appears to be credit. This 30K appears to be credit. This 20K appears to be debit, and this 20K is also debit. So my entries are capital debit, T capital debit, to P and to Q. As you can see, the concept has remained the same. We are raising goodwill among the old partners by crediting them in their old PSR, and we are writing off the same goodwill amongst the new partners in the new PSR. and जो भी तुम्हारा net adjustment है इसका entry pass करने के बाद this is the goodwill का adjustment on the event of admission and retirement both. So R and T के debit side में 20-20, so R and T के capital में debit में 20 and 20, ठीक है, and then P and Q के credit में 10 and 30, P and Q के क्रेडिट में 10 and 30, and this is my partners capital का goodwill adjustment entry among the partners capital का inter adjustment. ये अपना हो गया, ठीक है, so goodwill भी चला गया. Now one thing is left. We'll first close Mr. Q because Mr. Q is the one who's retiring and balancing figure is going to be transferred to his loan account. But before that we'll have to close reval account. So reval account में अपना 3 revaluation आ चुका है. Oh, provision for doubtful debts रह गया. Provisions कहाँ था? I didn't read provisions. Oh, I didn't read this. 20% provision. डेटर्स है 139, उसका 20% appears to be 27,800, that is here. ठीक है, and now we can close the revaluation account and the balancing figure appears to be loss. This loss is going to be transferred to 1 minute guys. नहीं, ठीक है, this loss is going to be transferred to the PSR of the old partners in the old PSR appears to be 5:3:2 or 10:6:4. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया. Then we go in the partners capital debit side because it's a loss. So 30,400, 18,240 and 1260 coming from here. ठीक है, ये भी अपना हो चुका है. Now we will close the outgoing partner Mr. Q and balancing figure जो भी आएगा we will not pay because the question has said amount is transferred to his loan account. So this balancing figure is transferred to his loan and this is going to come in the balance sheet as an outside liability. ठीक है. Now had the question been silent तो we would have simply balanced the capital account, लेकिन the question has said that in the new firm ये वाला the total capital is going to be 2 lakhs which will be in P, R and T in the new PSR, that is 2:2:1. So appears to be 80:80:40. So 80:80:40 is the closing balance of all the partners in the capital account. So 2 balance carried down is 80:80:40. This is in the ratio of 2:2:1 for capital adjustment. ठीक है. Now using all this we are going to balance the partners capital account and जो balancing figures है that is going to be used to close the bank overdraft. So it is going to be जो भी अपना cash आएगा the cash will be coming in and will be used to close the bank OD. So balancing figure जो भी आने वाला है in all the partners this will be used up to close the bank OD. That means T is going to bring a capital of 60,000. ठीक है, R is going to bring 78 and P is going to bring 10,400 to make their capitals 2 lakh and जो भी cash तुम्हारा firm में आ गया है this is going to reduce the bank overdraft, which means we have to also prepare a bank account जो अपन ने miss out कर दिया है. The question is directly asking us to prepare a bank account as well. So I will start by transferring the bank का overdraft balance to the credit side as 44,000. ठीक है, हाँ ठीक है, negative balance that is credit side and then whatever amounts are brought in by the partners वो तुम्हारा जो भी है P, R and T, all these numbers are coming from here only. ये वाला all these numbers are helping to close the bank OD and balancing figure जो भी आएगा this is now a debit balance will come on the asset side of the balance sheet as bank balance. ठीक है. So अपना goodwill हो गया, opening capital हो गया, अपना revaluation हो गया, अपना capital proportionate entry भी हो गया. So now it is simply left that we have to prepare the balance sheet as per the new revised figures. Capitals are 80:80:20. This is coming from the capital adjustment. Debts का number is the same as was there in the debt का number. Amounts किधर है? Oh, they haven't posted the amount. The amount type नहीं हुआ है. So 80:80:40 appears to be 2 lakhs. Long term debts ढूंढो. Long term debt was 3 lakhs. ठीक है. Then we have got trade payables. Trade payables में कुछ adjustment तो था नहीं. तो trade payables was 1,70,000 and there is no adjustment in trade payables. So 1,70,000. And Q's loan will be a normal liability 22,760. Then asset side all these numbers are the revalued figures as usual. Revaluation क्या है all these ये सारी चीज़ों का जो revalue नहीं हुआ है those will continue to come at the same figures. ठीक है. Bank will now come as a new amount. ये important है because bank is what we have prepared and bank का closing balance is now on the credit side signifying it is a debit balance, so it will come on the asset side and your balance sheet should tally. एक बार देख लो tally करके. कैलसी मेरे आसपास है नहीं, सो इट शुड टैली 5 lakhs 6 lakh 70 670 and 22 692 आ गया. And this is how the balance sheet tallies. ठीक है, so we have finished off question number 12 as well, and with this we have finished off the RTP of your RTP questions of the chapter of partnership. ठीक है, so this is it. November 18 का last question has been dealt with and all other questions of RTP have been covered. काफ़ी important question है, please do not leave this chapter as option. Alright, so in the next session I'll be taking up some new chapter and we'll be discussing the RTP and some basic revision of the new chapter as well. Alright, see you guys in the next session with the new chapter. Alright, bye bye.